Vietnam is becoming one of Asia's fastest growing economies. Across the country, new factories are rising, highways are expanding, and modern ports are connecting Vietnam to the global economy. Foreign investment continues to flow in, while exports are reaching record highs. From the outside, everything seems to be moving in the right direction. But behind these impressive numbers lies a much bigger question. Can Vietnam really achieve double-digit economic growth? At first glance, the answer appears to be yes. The economy grew by more than 7% in 2024. Growth became even stronger in 2025, and that momentum has continued into 2026. Today, Vietnam stands among the fastest-growing economies in Asia. But numbers alone never tell the whole story. Behind every percentage point of growth are millions of workers, thousands of factories, busy ports, and businesses operating around the clock. Economic miracles do not happen by accident. They are built through years of investment, innovation, and hard work. Before we ask whether Vietnam can achieve 10% growth, we first need to answer a much simpler question. What is really powering Vietnam's economy? If you travel through Vietnam's major industrial zones today, one thing quickly becomes impossible to ignore. New factories are everywhere. Global manufacturers continue expanding their production across the country. Inside these factories, millions of products are assembled every single day. From smartphones and laptops to electronic components and precision equipment, Vietnamese-made products are shipped to customers around the world. Manufacturing has quietly become one of the strongest foundations of Vietnam's economy. But producing goods is only the beginning. Those products still need to reach international markets. That is where Vietnam's ports come into the story. Every day, thousands of containers move through the country's major seaports. Cargo ships arrive from around the world. Others leave carrying products made in Vietnam. The United States remains Vietnam's largest export market. Meanwhile, China, Japan, South Korea, and Europe continue to play essential roles in Vietnam's global supply chain. Trade has connected Vietnam to nearly every major economy in the world. But factories and exports alone cannot explain Vietnam's rapid rise. Another important force has been working quietly in the background: foreign investment. Over the past decade, international companies have invested billions of dollars in Vietnam. They have built factories, expanded production, and created millions of jobs. Every new factory creates new opportunities. More jobs generate higher incomes. Higher incomes increase consumer spending, and stronger consumer spending creates even more economic activity. That cycle has become one of the key reasons why Vietnam's economy continues to grow. But manufacturing, exports, and foreign investment are still only part of the story. There are two more powerful forces pushing Vietnam's economy forward, and together they may be even more important than most people realize. Manufacturing and exports may attract most of the attention, but they are not the only reasons Vietnam continues to grow. A strong economy also depends on the confidence of its people. Across the country, shopping malls are becoming busier. Restaurants are opening in every major city. Coffee shops are filled throughout the day. More families are buying homes, cars, and household appliances. As incomes continue to rise, Vietnamese consumers are spending more than ever before. That growing domestic market gives businesses another reason to invest. It also makes the economy less dependent on exports alone. Another important piece of the puzzle is infrastructure. Every new highway shortens delivery times. Every new bridge connects more businesses. Every upgraded port moves goods more efficiently. Every new airport opens new opportunities for trade and tourism. These investments may not attract headlines every day, but over time, they quietly improve productivity across the entire economy. And then there is technology. Artificial intelligence is beginning to change how businesses operate. Factories are becoming smarter. Warehouses are becoming more automated. Digital services are becoming part of everyday life. Technology is no longer just another industry. It is becoming the foundation that supports every other industry. Put all these pieces together, and Vietnam's recent success becomes much easier to understand. A growing manufacturing sector, strong exports, foreign investment, rising consumer spending, better infrastructure, and rapid digital transformation. Together, they create a powerful combination. But if all these growth engines are already working, why hasn't Vietnam reached double-digit growth? That is where the real story begins. The answer is surprisingly simple. Growing from 2% to 4% is one challenge. Growing from 8% to 10% is a completely different one. At that level, every additional percentage point becomes much harder to achieve. The first challenge is inflation. When prices rise too quickly, businesses face higher costs, consumers become more cautious, and policymakers have less flexibility. The second challenge comes from outside Vietnam. Global trade has become increasingly uncertain. Supply chains remain vulnerable. Geopolitical tensions continue to reshape international commerce. As an export-driven economy, Vietnam cannot completely avoid these external risks. Climate change presents another growing challenge. Extreme weather affects agriculture. Flooding disrupts transportation. Heat waves increase production costs. These are no longer distant possibilities. They are already influencing economic activity today. Another challenge is talent. Vietnam has a young workforce, but many companies still struggle to find enough highly skilled engineers, technicians, and digital specialists. As industries become more advanced, the demand for skilled workers continues to grow. Finally, there is execution. Building ambitious plans is important. Turning those plans into reality is even more important. Infrastructure projects must move faster. Administrative procedures need to become more efficient. Investment must create higher productivity. Without these improvements, even the strongest growth engines will eventually slow down. So the question is no longer whether Vietnam can continue growing. The real question is whether Vietnam can remove these barriers quickly enough. Despite these challenges, there are many reasons for optimism. Vietnam has already achieved something remarkable. Over the past 3 decades, the country has transformed itself from a developing economy into one of Asia's most dynamic growth stories. The next stage of development will be even more demanding. Future growth will depend less on low-cost labor and much more on productivity, innovation, and technology. Success will require better education, smarter infrastructure, more competitive businesses, stronger local supply chains, and a workforce prepared for the industries of tomorrow. The opportunity is real, but so is the challenge. Double-digit growth is not impossible. Neither is it guaranteed. It will depend on the choices made over the next few years, the policies that are implemented, the investments that are prioritized, and the ability to adapt to a rapidly changing global economy. Vietnam has already proven that it can grow quickly. The next question is whether it can grow sustainably. Can Vietnam overcome these barriers and truly become one of Asia's leading economic powers? In our next episode, we'll explore 3 possible scenarios for Vietnam's economy and examine which future is the most likely.